Hello and welcome. You're watching our special show, Coronavirus Facts versus Myths. I'm Gargi Rawat. Our top news as far as the data goes, India saw a new record, a vaccine record, as it surpassed the United States in total number of doses administered so far. While India has given 32.36 crore doses, the US has given 32.33 crore doses. This comes amid a dip in fresh COVID cases. India registers 979 deaths, which is the lowest since April 13. Well, hopefully, we will also get more vaccines in our kitty of vaccines in the country currently. An India pharmaceutical company, Zydus Cadila, may approach drugs regulator DCGI for emergency approval of its COVID vaccine Zycov-D soon. Now, if approved, it will be the world's first DNA-based vaccine, and the number of available vaccines in the country will then rise to 4. It will be a 3-dose vaccine is what we know so far, and it's also being tested on children between the ages of 12 to 18. So that's also very interesting, a vaccine that can be used on children. Well, to talk more about this, we're joined by Dr. B.L. Sherwal, Director, Rajiv Gandhi Super Speciality Hospital, and Dr. Sunila Garg, Member, Lancet Commission, COVID India Task Force, and Fellow at WHO and ICMR. Thank you so much, doctors, for joining us. And Dr. Garg, first to you, what do we know about this new vaccine that's in the pipeline, and we're expecting it in the next month or so? If you could tell us about it, and it being a DNA-based vaccine.
Yeah, thank you, Gargi. And it is the very, very important question which you asked us. First of all, it's a newer vaccine in our kitty, and it's the first vaccine which is available on the DNA platform. So it's much better than, the earlier vaccines what we have got. And another important thing is that we can administer this to children who are 12 years and above. So that way, you see, as I've been telling earlier on your platform also, we do need a vaccine, which is there for children who are about 12 years of age, because we do have quite a bit of childhood obesity. It is important. And another important thing about this vaccine is it's a 3-dose vaccine, but we have to give it intradermally. That is important. So it will not be, that very painful, and it can be administered very fast. So that will help us in fighting a battle against COVID-19. And we have a newer vaccine in our kitty. So it will be, already the trials are almost over, and the company is going to apply to DCGI very soon for getting the approval and for, implementing it, as an emergency use for the fighting the pandemic. So this is one of the most important things, and I'm very convinced about this vaccine because this is already on DNA platform, so which is supposed to be a better platform.
Right, Dr. Sherwal, what can you add regarding this vaccine? And it's so urgent that we need more vaccines in our kitty. We only have 3 so far, and even then the Sputnik V vaccine is not so, freely available. So this particular vaccine being a more modern one, as Dr. Sunila Garg said there, and also you don't need a needle to give this vaccine, is what Dr. Garg, using that technical term, described it as. If you could tell us more about that.
Yes, as Dr. Garg has very nicely briefed that we all know that there are RNA and DNA, platform, but DNA platform is always thought to be better. So now this vaccine of Zydus is very soon going to be there. So it is definitely a good news for us. Plus, it will be able to administer to the children between 12 to 18. So that is another, advantage of this vaccine, that already the trial has been there, and we can, I think, administer it to the adolescent children. So because we were worrying that the third wave, which we are thinking that it will be more common and more severe in children. So if that thing is being taken care by the vaccine administration, and we have the available doses available in India, I think it is going to be very good.
Right. Dr. Sherwal, do you think that considering it needs 3 doses, this vaccine, we know it requires 3 doses, is that a disadvantage? Because to provide a proper coverage to people, it will take a long time between first, second, and then the 3rd dose.
No, you can, initially it looked like that, but otherwise, the immunization schedule in India, in India, we are knowing it that in children particularly, we are administering at different age, different vaccines. So already that age group has administered various vaccination, and there is no issue. Though it may be number of, when we say the number of vaccine, whether it is one or two, that should not be the matter. The matter should be whether it is providing you the safety against the COVID-19 or not. So
Right.
it is a protocol. It has come with the 3 doses. That should not be I think, any concern.
All right, and Dr. Garg, a DNA-based vaccine, is this something that will be effective against variants if the virus keeps mutating? If you could explain to us.
Definitely. You see, as of now, we are telling about the other 2 vaccines also, Covaxin and Covishield also. As of now, they are effective, and this vaccine definitely, it's based on the DNA platform. It will definitely take care of the variants, but important is that people have to understand that they need to take the required doses at a recommended interval, so that we can protect against the variants. The most important thing is taking complete doses of the vaccine as per the protocol, and
right.
So that is one thing which is very important. So you see, we are in the midst of variants. There is no doubt about it, Gargi, and we need to take care of that part also. So complete dosage schedule will always protect us against the variants.
All right, and Dr. Garg, I just wanted to ask you one more thing regarding our vaccines. There's been this controversy over the Covishield vaccine in the EU. EU's issued new vaccine passport scheme, which doesn't recognize the India-made version of AstraZeneca Oxford University vaccine, which is Covishield here in India. Now, Adar Poonawala has tweeted saying that it will be resolved soon and he'll take it up at the highest level. But if you could explain this controversy to us, is it a more technical issue, or is it anything to do with the vaccine manufacturer in India?
I think it's more of a technical issue, and we need to look at, properly. As of now, we have got very, very less, side effects if we were to look at the, adverse events following immunization. So they are just, 0.002% kind of like that way. So, and most of the, side effects are much less severe in nature. So it is important that we look at, we should not face any problems regarding travel and all that, because as EU has said that we will not accept Covishield, but it is important that we need to justify it with the help of our data and with the help of adverse events which are coming to this extent. So I think that should not be a problem. This issue will be resolved very soon, and it's a UK manufactured vaccine originally. If we'll say the initial trials were done in UK and other countries, and major portion of the trials took place over there itself. But then the virus itself has got the thrombogenic property, and it is also immunogenic. So that's where we need to look at from that perspective also. But I'm sure this issue will be resolved very soon.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Garg and Dr. Sherwal, for joining us on the program today.
Thank you, Gargi. Thank you.
Thank you. Now look at the impact that the Delta variant is having in the United States. The variant, first found in India, is spreading in different parts of the world and is well on its way to becoming the dominant strain in the US, with cases doubling every 2 weeks. This according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. As of June 19, the variant was responsible for 20% of new cases. Well, to talk more about this, we're now joined by Dr. Bob Watcher, Chair, Department of Medicine, University of California, San Francisco. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us. If you could tell us, how big a worry is the Delta variant in the US currently?
There are definitely concerns. If it weren't for the Delta variant, the United States would be doing very well. It is doing quite well. The case rates are very low. The death rates have come down tremendously. There's still about 300 a day in the United States, but that's down from several thousand. But the Delta variant is spreading very quickly. We're really mirroring what happened in the UK just a month later. So we've gone from a few percent last month up to 20% Delta variant, and the predictions are will be majority Delta in a month. The good news for the United States is the population is fairly highly vaccinated, but there are tremendous disparities, mostly by region. So there are parts of the country, like where I live in San Francisco, where 70 or 80% of the adults are vaccinated. There are parts of the country where it's 20%. And so we are predicting, because Delta is more infectious and might be more serious, that there will be surges in the next few months, mostly localized in areas that have lower vaccination rates.
In fact, I wanted to ask you about that. You know, with the sizable proportion of the population vaccinated, there's also a regional difference. So what has the experience been? What are you seeing in the more vaccinated and the lesser vaccinated areas?
Yes, I hope that India is able to catch up as quickly as possible. What we're seeing is in highly vaccinated places, California is one of them, the number of cases is very low. When there is someone who gets sick and goes to the hospital, in the vast majority of cases, it is someone who is unvaccinated. In parts of the country where vaccine rates are lower, the case rates tend to be higher. They're still not that high. I think the entire country is benefiting from the fact that overall there's a lot of vaccinated people around. But we're a little bit worried the virus is probably seasonal, meaning there probably will be surges come the fall. And I think we may be getting lulled into a false sense of security now. The case rates are fairly low everywhere, in part because the majority virus is still not Delta, but within a month it will be. And so that is the concern, that the parts of the country that have low vaccine rates will start seeing more cases because of Delta. Whether they're going to see more breakthrough cases, I think the data would say probably not. It looks like the vaccines that are mostly being used here, which is Pfizer and Moderna, are holding up very, very well against Delta. And so, most people in places like California, the majority of people are fully vaccinated. It looks like that will hold up against Delta very well. So we will see some breakthrough cases, but relatively small number. And the people with those vaccines, the rate of them getting very sick, going to the hospital, and dying is very, very, very small. So this really is going to turn into a tale of two different countries, really. Parts of the country that are highly vaccinated that probably will do fine, parts of the country that have low vaccine rates where particularly those people who are unvaccinated in the parts of the country with low vaccine rates, I think are quite vulnerable as Delta becomes the majority of our virus.
Right. We are seeing reports that the southern states, you're seeing a high vaccine hesitancy. But anything new that we're seeing this year, any new symptoms being reported in this round of infections?
Well, we are seeing that the Delta variant seems to lead to some different symptoms than the original and the Alpha variant. Less cough, less loss of sense of smell, more people with headaches, more people with gastrointestinal symptoms. So it does appear that the variant is leading to somewhat different symptoms. In terms of long COVID, we've known that all along, that some people have persistent symptoms. But there are now better studies coming out telling us how frequent that is, and it's fairly frequent. A recent study said 30% of people with COVID will continue to have symptoms more than a month out. We used to think that was about 10%. So, and the symptoms are quite varied. And so, yes, the virus just continuously surprises us. Always new things coming that we learn about as time goes on.
In fact, we're still learning about the Delta variant, and here in India we have what we're calling as the Delta Plus variant. In fact, some cases being reported in the United States as well.
That's what I tell people who haven't been vaccinated, that your body has not gotten any smarter in the past 18 months. Your body is no better at fighting the infection, but the virus has gotten much smarter, much more clever, much better at its job. Whether this Delta Plus is clinically meaningful, I think it is up in the air. We haven't seen data that shows that it is, but certainly, I spent much of 2020 telling people, yes, there are lots of mutations, there are lots of variants, but there's no difference in any of the important factors, how infectious it is, how serious it is. But that really changed with the UK, the Alpha variant. And now since then, we've seen the Beta, the Gamma, the Delta. And I think given the amount of new spread in the world, there's no reason to believe there won't be other variants that have different properties. And so it is another reason why we think it's incredibly important to make sure everybody gets vaccinated as quickly as possible. I think most people in the U.S. who are paying attention realize that we're in a very nice position and that the majority of people in the U.S. now are vaccinated. But it's almost become a cliche, but the idea that no one is safe until everyone is safe is very real.
Right, absolutely. Dr. Bob, thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Well, with that, time for us to slip into a short break. On the other side, we'll tell you how to take care when you're suffering from COVID. We'll be joined by Dr. Akanksha for more on that. Now for our special campaign, Vaccinate India, in partnership with Google, where we try to answer the questions that many of you have regarding the vaccines, regarding COVID, questions that you often look up online, questions that you Google. Well, to answer those questions, we're joined by Dr. Akanksha Chawla Jain, pulmonologist, pulmonology and consultant, respiratory medicine, critical care, Apollo Hospitals. Thank you so much, doctor, for joining us. And one of the questions that people still look up a lot online is how to prevent COVID.
Again, the most important part of preventing COVID appropriate behavior. Every single person, every individual needs to take that responsibility. Avoid COVID. Of course, vaccination is a very important part of it. But wearing a mask, maintaining social distancing, and then of course sanitization, the three most important part of the COVID appropriate behavior, along with vaccination, is the most essential part of how to avoid COVID.
Right, doctor. And also, once you are vaccinated, even then people shouldn't think they have some sort of, immunity and immediate protection. They have to continue practicing COVID protocols, isn't it? Absolutely.
Absolutely. This is very important. Even if you're vaccinated, does not mean that you are protected. It's not preventive. It is protective. The vaccine would prevent you from having a very serious illness, but it will not protect you from not getting COVID at all. So even after you're vaccinated, it is very important. It's a must that you must wear the mask and maintain social distancing.
And with the new variants emerging, is there anything new that, is being said now? We do know that a lot of emphasis over the last 1.5 years has become on ventilation and the spread of COVID through the air.
Yeah. So, we are mutations and these variants, it's a viral disease. So the viral disease and this mutations would keep happening. However, we are hearing about the new Delta Plus variant. Everybody's been talking about it. There have been some cases that have been reported about. So the ventilation, when we talk about ventilated areas, if you would talk in closed spaces, that is why this social distancing and the masking has been constantly been forced upon, that it should be taken care of, because it is spread through aerosols. So somebody who's suffering from if he coughs, or if he coughs out, then that is how it is spreading.
Right. Absolutely. And now with things opening up and restrictions being eased, everybody has to be even more careful and ensure they follow all these protocols. Another question that is often looked up is self-care during COVID. So when you have the illness, how best to take care of yourself?
So when you have the illness, of course you seek medical help. You have to do a proper consultation with an expert. Apart from that, you need to have an appropriate diet. You need to take care of your nutrition. You need to take care of your hydration. You need to take the medicines as they've been prescribed. You need to isolate yourself. That is very important. Home isolation, whether when you've been treated at home, of course, in the hospital, the isolation protocols are maintained. Apart from that, the most important is that you should, as soon as you have symptoms, or when you are diagnosed, you should take care that you isolate, because that becomes one of the most important parts. And after isolation, of course, you have to take care of your nutrition, your hydration, take medicines as prescribed. A lot of supportive treatment that is being also given to patients. So
right,
that becomes.
Yes, go ahead.
So that becomes a part of the self-care, and of course, patients who are self-isolated alone, they need to take care of their nutrition, hydration, and all these things as well, apart from taking the medicines.
Right. And doctor, this care or taking particular care of your health also continues post-COVID, isn't it? After you recover from the infection, you have to be very careful for the next couple of months. So just be a little aware of your health.
Yes, post-COVID, especially for patients who have suffered from a moderate to severe disease, those patients, they are still, in fact, we come across a lot of patients every day who are still having symptoms of breathlessness, are still feeling fatigue. Even the ones who've had mild disease, they're all complaining of fatigue and lethargy and breathlessness and all these symptoms. So, post-COVID, once you've suffered from COVID, the important aspects of your care and the part of care become is that, you need to take a proper, adequate, high-protein diet. You need to maintain your hydration. You need to also, the ones who suffered from moderate severe disease, they need to involve in pulmonary rehabilitation, chest physiotherapy, limb therapies. These become a very important part of the post-COVID care, especially for these patients.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Akanksha, for joining us on the program.
Thank you.